See, this is a big deal. This is like a secret. It's like a loophole. But most people will never know it because they won't become free of lust. You can't realize this until you become free of lust. It's not the same as like you read something, some master says, oh, it's real important to be free of lust, and then you can feel the bliss of the soul, all this, it's like propaganda. It doesn't mean anything unless you actually experience it firsthand, and most won't, because this whole matrix, this whole world is set up and designed to keep you searching, craving, trying to satisfy senses that'll never be satisfied, ever. You just stay in this loop over and over and over again. You know what'll happen? It will continue even when you leave this realm. You'll be stuck in some dream loop, trying to satisfy your senses. It's not working. You'll just be stuck. It's only by grace one can be free of this, but grace needs somehow our openness and willingness to be free. Of course, grace gives us that too. It's hard to explain where do I start and where does grace start, and it's just all like, who knows. But if you're watching this video or this channel and you feel it, you're resonating with it, then this is for you. That means that you're already becoming open to these things, and there's an openness in you, therefore grace can work on you. If you pay attention to this desire to be free, then grace can do something with that. People who don't want to be free, they're not going to watch this. It's impossible. The energy field will just knock them out. Like, this guy, like, see? Because the ego hates this. The ego hates, you can say, truth. It don't want it. It wants to stay stuck. It wants to hijack your vessel and keep you stuck in lust. Now, lust isn't just, we're not just talking about the sexual realm, although that's the core of lust. But lust means anytime you're craving for something or thinking something out here is going to give you some security or some happiness or some deep satisfaction. That's lust. This whole world's built on that. Everything. Look, just the TV and the ads, and it's like insane. I was shared before when I went to the doctor's office to get some x-rays like last year, how many commercials you see on the monitor about, like, you got to get this vaccine, you got to get this checked, oh, this is important, you got to get this test and that. I'm like, what? Like, who believes all that stuff? But it's all driven by money and lust. I'll say like this too. I feel the core lust substratum is sexual, actually. And God created all this on purpose, right? He's made this game super intense and not easy to overcome. If this planet was full of men and women, and they didn't have this lust in them or this deep biological tendency to go mate with each other, if that wasn't there, if they somehow discovered their oneness or their wholeness inside, to where then they appreciated each other, but it wasn't a big deal, and they depended on this wholeness inside to take care of them, to satisfy them, they weren't overzealous or excessive about trying to get their security needs met, and everything usually for a woman funnels through the channels of security. Am I going to get security? Am I going to get, because then it breaks. You can't experience any real holistic unconditional love. And for a man, it's usually the lust principle. How does she look? Yeah, can we have sex? Will she lay down with me at night and be my arm candy during the day and tell me I'm great, all this stuff. If somehow those inordinate needs were getting met from inside because you have a relationship with the divine, then imagine there wouldn't be, because everybody's doing everything almost for that. because they're trapped in lust or the need to be seen by the opposite sex or just by the world in general. How many companies would be out of business then? All the anti-aging, skin creams and companies and all the beauty products, all the operations, all, god damn, just everything, man. It's even bled through to a large degree into health and spirituality. This meaning people get into that because their deeper motives are being fueled by lust. Let me go get spiritual now. Yeah, I'm gonna go get spiritual and do the yoga classes, and because then I can see other. If I'm a guy, I'll see the girls wearing their little yoga pants, and maybe they'll like be in front of me, and maybe I'll see something, or maybe I'll meet them. Oh boy, maybe I'll find out about some tantra class. Maybe this, maybe that. Maybe I'll get very high level self-realization. Then I'll get the girls. Then they'll like need me. They'll like be like, wow, he's super spiritual. I'll be like, yeah, I know some tantra too. Oh, you do? Yeah. All that's in there somewhere, but like very few people look at that. How do I know? Because it was in me when I was doing it. It was in me. I know, and I've been on the planet long enough, and I've been in around this stuff enough to where once you know how that feels in you, that vibration of lust, it's a frequency, it's a vibration. Once you realize that in you, and once you have some distance from it, you can see it in others. That you can't hide it. I've said before, you can't hide your frequency or energy. People get manipulated too easily because they're naive based on what a person says. Doesn't matter what somebody's words, what they say. It doesn't even matter somebody's actions. Some people say, well, their actions are, if they're doing good actions, that means you can. That also doesn't mean anything. What's the motive behind the actions? Am I helping her because really I want to get her number? Am I trying to help the masses of people because really I just need to get a dopamine hit? I need to feel like I'm worthy. Wow, I went and spoke at this group and there was 100 people and they all get, yeah, good, I'm worthy. Subtle stuff, subtle motives. We're here to look at that stuff because that's the stuff that binds us and bonds us. That stuff. So if everybody was pure and they didn't have this strong tendency for lust, then what would it be like, man? It'd be like Golden Age. They call Golden Age the age of the gods. That means all the beings that were here that have transcended this level, this realm, they don't need to come back here. They come back just for fun, just to enjoy on a dense, gross level. Human level is very dense and gross. I made that video, I don't know, a few weeks ago about the astral dimensions. It's more subtle. It's more energetic. You don't have this heavy body. This body's very gross and dense. It has its advantages. Everything's duality. But what would the world look like? Imagine you appreciate, if I'm a man, I appreciate a woman, for example. I like her energy. It's nice because we're playing the role. The consciousness has identified with half of the whole. It means it's identified with the male body, male biology, etc. So when it meets a woman, she's the other half. Then there's a nice, on the level of experience, it's just nice. There's some synergy, there's some balance. You feel like a sense of balance and wholeness on the physical level. And one can say, yeah, but on soul level, you're already balanced. Yeah, that's fine. Soul level's cool. But when you're in this human dimension, it's also nice to feel a balance on a physical level. So then you would just talk to each other or do whatever, share energy. You don't have to have sex to share energy. You share energy just by looking at each other, just by talking, being authentic. You're exchanging energy. You wouldn't be caring anymore about how do I look? People care so much how they look, but they don't know that they care. You ask the average person, man, I don't care how I look. Because they're not aware of the deeper subconscious tendencies that really care how you look. Yeah, on my other channel, I make fun of the guys sometimes. Like, I say, don't go to the gym. Don't be so obsessed with going to the gym just to try to get gains to show off in public to the girls. I say, no, man, I go to the gym just for myself. Yeah, also, okay, that's there. But are you aware that there's still some subconscious, deeper care about what people think, how they look at you. You care about that. This is how the darkness hides in you, and you can't like get out of it unless you admit it. A lot of people have trouble with their diet, for example. They know intuitively they should eat better and eat cleaner and lighter, because let's say they have a sensitive nervous system. So they're eating all this heavy food and they're having symptoms. So they know they should eat lighter and cleaner, maybe more vegetarian, less meat. So then they say, yeah, but like, how do I get my protein? Or I'm a bodybuilder. How do I how do I keep that up if I'm not getting all the heavy grams of protein and fat from the meat? And I'm like, you're asking the wrong question. Ask yourself, why do you care about all that? Your body's telling you what you need to do to have a more balanced, enjoyable experience here in this car. It's telling you what to do. So why are you valuing some mind trip desire, superficial desire, over like what your body's telling you to do? Why you want to be a bodybuilder? Look at all the ruckus it's causing. Your body, your intuition's trying to tell you, like, chill, man, do this and you'll enjoy your experience better. No, but I want to get these gains, and I mean, you can get gains like this, but they want to get some gains, because it's the psychological component. It's so deep. It runs so deep, man, in the human race. So deep. Girls and guys. I don't know which is worse. Girls might be even a little worse because the conditioning that they have to grow up with. Oh, you gotta look pretty, you gotta look good, you gotta get the guy before like you start looking old. What kind of sense does that make? You gotta get the guy before you look old, and then have a kid, and then you trap them. A lot of this is subconscious. I'm not saying they all do it. I'm just bringing to light things that how the matrix works, how it's working through everybody. Those tendencies are there. Are you aware of them? You can't transcend something unless you're aware of them. Denying that they're not there, or I don't have them, or nothing, that doesn't do anything. Like, it's a waste of time. It keeps you asleep longer. Your subconscious drives you. Not what you say, not what you think or believe, that it's weak. No, your subconscious is driving you. You're gonna attract those situations, and then you're gonna just get into them. It doesn't matter what we say. So I realized through being a sense slave for a long time, and continuing to do my sadhana though, because that's how I came out of it, it just burned out. It burned out in me, and it's like, I told my friend then, and he experienced similar, and we're like, what the hell is the world for now? There's like nothing to do. When that tendency for lust and attraction and I met a new girl, wow, I got her number too. When all that stuff went away, and it was like just kind of funny. Like, no longer I got a hit from that. No longer when I go into public and I'm checking to see where the girl's at, how they look, who's looking at me. No longer am I making decisions on where I go and what I do based on like the crowd that's going to be there, based on am I going to get my dopamine fix, basically. When all that went away, it's like, what's there to do? There's nothing to do now. That's what I meant when I said I made a video before about outgrowing the planet. You just outgrow this realm, basically. This realm is for sense pleasure. This matrix is set up to be asleep to your true nature, and then try to find happiness by looking outside yourself, and by giving millions of things that you can try that will give a dopamine hit or a sense of aliveness. Millions of things. So then it's like, that's the game. I'm going to put you in this matrix pot with all these things that can stimulate you, and then you have to realize at some point it's all nonsense, actually. Then you outgrow the planet. And then when you go to the next realm, man, you'll enjoy. I'll say like that. You won't enjoy as much if you didn't outgrow this. You won't get punished, but you'll have to go through more training, more deeper training. Maybe you'll be in a certain astrals something else, man. Maybe you'll be in a dream scenario where you have everything you want, all the girls and all the money, and you're sitting here chilling, and you're like, I'm depressed as hell because you got everything, and you saw nothing worked, nothing did anything. Some people can experience that here too. Some of the movie stars and celebrities, and then they end up becoming a drug addict or they kill themselves or whatever, because that bottom that they hit, that was grace. They gave them that bottom. They somehow didn't have the wisdom or the intelligence to turn in now and say, okay, God, I really, I don't know. I can't, I'm super depressed. Nothing helps me. I'm willing to just, can you help me? Something like that. They don't do that. Instead, they kill themselves. All right. I wanted to make this video, and I made it earlier this morning. It's so damn hot here now. You almost can't even go outside, but I want to check. I just wrote some notes. I forget sometimes that I write the notes, but oh yeah, I should touch on this last thing, because the mind, this is how the mind works. When I start talking about these things, the mind will say, oh, he's like against sex, he's against this, he's against having fun. You see, because the mind only understands all or nothing, extremes, doesn't understand paradoxical nature. And any real truth is paradoxical. Therefore, the mind can't really understand anything when it comes to real truth. I'm not against anything, and I'm not for anything. I'm sharing what I'm sharing, and then others will take it how they take it. Sex is cool. Enjoying a girl's cool. Enjoying a guy's cool. Enjoying your food is cool. Going on vacation. Go to your techno party if you want. Like, who cares? Okay? But what I'm trying to say is, if you see through all that and realize, you have to realize how you're trying to get a sense of self or wholeness through those things. This is the first thing that one has to, that's the first thing. Do you realize that you're doing that? If you say you're not, and no, man, I just go and enjoy, and I don't have any, okay, good, yeah, okay, you're awakened, good, enjoy. Most people that are lying, they're not there. They just don't want to look at these things because it brings up a sense of shame and guilt, and oh, I'm not as good as I think I am, and all that. So you have to work, you have to get to where you're not so critical of yourself, and you realize your imperfections as a human. Why do you identify so much with this human matrix self that you're playing in? Of course you're imperfect as hell. Everybody is. Everybody is. You can't be perfect in this meat suit. It's impossible. A real master knows that. He embraces that. And then paradoxically, you start to become more perfect because you're not fighting it or denying it. So I'm saying, enjoy your sex, enjoy whatever. But are you trying to get a hit from those things because you're cut off from your source? You can say it like that. First step. Okay. If you are, then, and you want to be free of that because you realize, well, this keeps me in a constant state of restlessness and anxiety. It's like I keep looking for this. I'm trying to do this and pursue this because I'm trying to extract some life force from it, but I know it's not going to work, but I can't stop doing it. Good. Ask God to help you. Find your spiritual practice. Find a way to get some real wisdom and knowledge and support, and then you'll overcome that. At some point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when. What matters is you're on to the game now. That's what matters. That's all that matters. And then you can go still enjoy these things. If life puts you in that situation, but you're not going to be seeking it out. If I'm sitting here in the woods right now and a girl comes and she sits on that bench and she's looking at me, and somehow, let's say she's a village girl from India, she's like interested. Somehow she feels the vibration, she likes it, she's looking. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Now, if a modern society girl's sitting there and she's like, she's trying to work me, then I'll have to shoo her. Shoo. I was in Thailand. There was this, I like village girls. And, but my point is, if that was a village girl, I'll enjoy that experience. I wasn't looking for her, but she's like, God worked it out. So you enjoy things like that, but you don't seek them out anymore. All right, but I was in Thailand and I liked the village girls, and she was selling fruit. And I would always, I'd go by, I tease her, I can't help it. And so then I'd go, and then I'd drive my scooter and get the fruit. And then I would always, I would hit the back seat, on the motorcycle, you have a back where the passenger can sit. And so before I'd leave, I'd look at her and I'd hit the back, like let's go for a ride. And she'd say, no, shoo. We had a good, I missed that actually. All right, I'll see you.